Hello there! Welcome to our programming tutorial. So in this tutorial we're gonna learn about data processing. So data processing is when you operate with the data. That's right. So on the last tutorial where we learned about input and output, we learned that you can read the data from the user, right? That's the input, and you can output that data. So you can print the data. But if you don't do any operation with the data, you can't do anything cool with the program. So the processing here is exactly on the middle. So you're gonna have the input, so you're gonna have a data reading from the user, or giving value to a variable, or after that you can process the data, so you can operate, transform the data, so you can add 5 to 5, for example, or you can do some other kind of operations, logical operations, relational operations, and arithmetic operations. So you transform the data, you change it in some way, and then you output the data. So that's the heart of programming. So read, input, process, operate, and output, print. So and that's what we're gonna learn here in this tutorial. Gonna be really cool. So before we get started, let me show you here that you can go to Introduction to Programming. That's the welcome screen of Vizzcode, and you can either create a new project, blank project with no tutorial, or you can follow a tutorial. So if you go here and you follow the Introduction to Programming Part 3, that's when the main things we're gonna talk here in this tutorial. But of course, in the embedded tutorial on Vizzcode, you have some other things. You have it written down, so you can follow both tutorials. Another thing, if you want to, you can change Vizzcode to Portuguese or to English. And if you want to learn, watch this video in Portuguese, you can go to Vizzcode Brazil. So to start, here in this tutorial, we're gonna create a new project with no tutorial. So I'm gonna put out in my head be a blank project. So it'll be data processing, and I'm gonna create. So that's the main screen of Vizzcode. On the left side, you have the visual programming. On the right side, you have the text programming. So that's what is cool about Vizzcode. You can start with the visual programming. That's the best way to learn. It's really clear for you. You create the nodes, you create the variable with the node. It's really cool. And as you program with the visual, the text will appear automatically on the right side, and you're gonna see all the cool stuff. And you can start programming them with both at the same time, as we're gonna do this here. We're gonna do this here in this tutorial. So to start, let us import a library. I'm gonna import a library, so I'm gonna input the IO library, so I can read a data and I can output that data. So the print command to output and the scan command to read, as we saw on the last tutorial, the input and output tutorial. And here I'm gonna create a new procedure, the main procedure. That's where I'm gonna put all the commands for the program to understand. So so that's the main structure of programming in general. You can import all the libraries, or if you don't want to use a library, you don't have to import it, and you have the main procedure to put the commands here. If you want to create other procedures, you can do that as well, but we're gonna learn that in the future tutorials because it's more complex, but it leaves the program more organized. It's when the program starts getting really big, it's great to use more procedures. So let's start creating 3 variables. So the first variable, new variable here, will be of a different type, will be an int type. That's right. As we saw on the last tutorial, we have the string. That's the type where we operate with text. So you read text and stuff like that. We have the int, that's the numbers, the integer numbers, the float numbers with decimal, and the bool. It's the true or false variable. We're gonna learn more about this about the bool variable in this tutorial. So you can leave the type to auto, and the compiler will understand which type you're typing. So you can 10 10.5, that's a float. You can have a text, or you can have a bool. But I like to leave the type clear here, so you can follow it more easily to see what we are dealing with. But as you start to program and get more used to that, you're gonna see that you don't have to keep using the types. So that's int1, that's a new variable, int2. As you guys can see, the text is appearing here automatically, and the new variable, that's the result. The result is where we're gonna operate these two values. So to begin, let's first create int1 with the value 6 and int2 with the value 10. So to operate here, I'm gonna drag off here and I'm gonna say, let me see, I'm gonna do some add. That's the sum of these two numbers. And using the add node, I can come here and type int1 and drag off here and int2. That's right, guys. As you guys can see here on the right side, it's more clear. Result equals to int1 plus int2. That's an operation. Let me print here so you guys can see if it's operating correctly. And as I type print here, you can see that we have print, print int, print float, and print bool. So for each type, we have a different print procedure. The print with nothing prints strings, and here I'm gonna print an int. I'm gonna print the result. Yep. So let me compile so the computer can read what we just did, and then run. So 16, that's right, guys, we did it correctly. So the computer operated 6 plus 10 correctly, and they print the result. And I can rearrange the nodes so I can leave it more organized. I can move here, pressing and holding the right button. I can select pressing the left and holding the left button. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. It's really cool to move here. But let us put some more cool stuff here. Instead of saying that int1 equals to 6, what if I want to read that number from the user? Yep, we can do that with scanInt. That's the function to read the number from the user. As you guys can see here, you guys remember the scan from the last tutorial, that you can type the message. But here in scanInt, you have a success that you didn't have on the other one. What's this success? So when you ask the user to type something, he can type whatever he wants. So if you ask him a number, he can type a text. And if you want a number and receive a text, you may get an error, right? So the success here will deal with that. The program will return to this variable here saying true, remember the bool, true if he typed a number, or false if he didn't. So once you learn the if command, you can say something like, if the user typed a number, great, go on. If he didn't type a number, type another number. And you can loop, another interesting thing about programming here, so you can loop the program until he type it correctly. And to receive the value, just have to click here, the plus, so you get two different variables here, but we're not gonna deal with that for now. So I'm gonna ask the user to type a number, here. So I'm gonna compile to see what's gonna happen. So compile the program and run. So type a number. So the other variable here, we have 10. So if I type here 30, what's gonna happen? 40. If you said 40, that's right, guys. So we typed the number, we read the number 30, and we processed the number to sum 30 to 10, and the result here is 40. So it's pretty cool. Now I'm gonna show you some other cool stuff that you can do here. So in the math tool, when you learn math during the school or college, whatever, you learn the expressions, right? So you can mess here with the expressions. For example, if you want to type an expression that 6 plus 3 times 3. So what's the result here, guys? So 3 times 3, it's 9. 9 plus 6, 15. So if I compile the program and I run the, it's gonna keep asking to type a number, but forget about it. And it's 15, the result. So you can mess here with the expression as you want. As you guys can see here on the visual programming, you can type the numbers like this, so it's easier for you to type, but you can also type on another way. For example, if you want to come here and say that it's int 1, that's what you read from the user, int 2. So as you guys can see, int 1 plus int 2 times 3. So you can either type here, or you can just come here and type multiply, and you can push the int 2 and int 3, sorry. So it can get really complex as you want. So 10, 40, because 10 times 3 is 30. So you can come here and you can have a divide, for example. And if you divide like 10, 2, so compile and run. So you type a number in 72. So you can follow here on the expression. So it's really cool, because it can get really complex as you start typing here, and that's it, guys. That's the main core about arithmetic operations. That's one kind of processing. It's really easy to follow, because most people are familiar with this kind of operation. But now I want to introduce to another variable, another type of variable called Boolean. So Boolean variable is a variable that you can store either true or false. How I'm gonna use this? Imagine a situation. You're here at home and then you think like, oh, if it's raining and my car is in my garage, I'm going to the movie theater. So what you did here is you put two conditions. If it's raining and the car is in the garage. So the result of is raining can be either true or false. And the car in the garage, true or false. So that's the bool variable. You're going to store that kind of operation. And as you guys can see, it's really common to use booleans when you're using if or while, which you're going to learn in the next tutorials. But let me start here. Let me type two new variables. So variable var1 will be a bool, false. var2 will be a bool, true. And I want to teach you guys some other way to set the value or do the operation. You can have the set variable here, the same variable we used on the input and output tutorial. So I'm gonna say that var2, so the var that equals true, will result another operation. Will be resulting the operation AND. So AND operation and the OR operation, it's an operation that you do with booleans. So each type of variable, you have different types of operations. So it doesn't make any sense to add one text to another. I mean, you can concatenate that text to another one. That's an operation you can do with text, but you can't add the text. It doesn't make any sense, but you can add two numbers. And you can the logic operations that you do with the booleans. It doesn't do it doesn't make any sense to say something 10, number 10 and number 2. What's that? I don't understand. But if you say true and false, you can have a result, as you guys gonna see here, true and false. I'm gonna print the boolean. So I can choose the boolean types. So I'm gonna print bool type sorry, var2 here, and before that we have to add a print so we can skip the line. So I'm gonna type here. As you guys know, we can do both ways. We can come here in backslash and it will appear here automatically to break line, or I can delete here and I can create like this. So you guys can choose the best way. As you get familiar with programming, you can start using the text more often, but the visual will have its benefits even if you are really great programmer. So I'm gonna type here. So that's it. Let me compile, let me run. So it's still asking for a number. Let's forget about it. And false. So true, and true is false. So imagine that if you say I'm going to the movie theater if it's raining and the car is in the garage. So if it's not raining, even if the car is in the garage, you're not going to the movie theater because you said and. So the operator and works like this. It's only true when both are true. So the car is in the garage and it's raining. So true and true, the result will be true here. And true and false, as we did just before, it's false. And false, of course, it's also false. There's another operation called OR. So I'm gonna drag the OR here. So the difference of OR is, for example, I'm going to the movie theater if my car is in the garage or it's raining. We don't say that a lot in English, but the OR works like this. So if the car is in the garage, great. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not. I'm going to the movie theater. So that's the difference. So the OR, if it's true or false, the result will be true. True here. But if it's true and true, will be true, of course. And false, let me put here, will be false. So as I said, the Booleans are very used on if construct, the constructor if and the constructor while. But there's another cool thing about the bool variables, and that thing you're gonna figure out because you learn in during the school. That's the relational operations or the comparison operations. So if I come here and I say greater than, so if I say 10 is greater than 5, 10 is greater than 5. Yep, right? So if I compile here and I run, will be true. And if I say 5 is greater than 10, no, it's not. So it's false. So that's another cool thing that you can do with the Boolean operations. You can ask stuff like that. So for example, if 10 is greater than 5 in my program, I want to run a piece of code. If it's not, I want to run another piece of code. That's really used during the when you're programming using the if constructor. So the relational operators are really cool. As you guys can see here, I'm doing the 5 times 10. I can also greater than. I can also use the int variables. So we know that int 2 is 10. So if I type here 100, I'm gonna get true. Let me clear some code for you guys. So I'm gonna clear the operation here, not printing the operation anymore. So I'm compiling here and I'm running. So 100 is greater than 10, but if I type 1, it's false because 1 is not greater than. So if I can use the greater or equal operator, so 10 is greater or equal to 10. So that's what we learned here. We learned about the relational operations we learn about the arithmetic operations, and we learn about the logic operations. The logic operations is the and or, the relational is comparison, greater than, greater, and also, for example, you can have the another operation here that's less than, for example, and you can add like this here, and 1 is less than 10, true. So you can have this operation here, and also the arithmetic operations that what we were doing on the other part of the class. So if I add here, I can say that int 2 equals to 10 plus 2. So that's really really cool, and you can create the nodes here, and you can operate or change it here on the right side. Let me see if I'm gonna tell you another thing. No, so that's everything in this lesson. We learn about the operations, right? The processing. We learn how to get a data, process that data, transform it, and print to the user. And we learn a really cool variable type bool, where you can store true or false. And you're gonna learn a lot of things here, and on the future lessons you're gonna see that bool is really important on the programming, and it's the main difference of programming to other math operations. But before we finish the class, I want to solve programming exercises with you guys. That's right. So as you guys may know, here on the Vizzcode website, you can of course register, create an account, or you can come here to the documentation. And if you come to the documentation, you can have a lot of stuff here. You can learn about variables, what we just said here, the type of the variable, boolean, like we talked about. But we also have a lot of programming exercises, and I'm gonna find one here for us. So what we just learned: input, processing, and output. So you can do all these exercises. You have the knowledge to do this watching this video. So I'm gonna choose this one, even, zero, odd one. So create a program that reads an integer and prints 0 if that integer is even, or 1 if that integer is odd. So how are we gonna do this? So let us see here this example. So enter a number 9, and you're gonna print the result 1 because 9 is even. If it is odd, 9 is odd, so 9 is odd is 1. So what we're gonna do, let me go back to Vizzcode here, and let me clear this screen so we can start solving this exercise. So type a number, and we have to print the result. And what we're gonna print here is, if you typed even number, you're gonna print 0. If you type odd number, you're gonna print 1. We're gonna do this using the module operator. When you're learning math, you probably learn about the rest of a division. So for example, if you divide a number, even number by 10, the rest of that division is 0. But if you divide a even number by 2, so coming back, if you divide a even number by 2, the rest is 0. If you divide an odd number by 2, the rest is 1. So and you can also, for example, if you divide 100 by 7, what's the rest? So you can have all these kind of operations, but to solve this problem, we need to figure out how to use this module operator. So the module operator gives the rest of the division. So I'm gonna get the number that the user typed, so the number, and I'm gonna get the rest of the division by 2. So if the user types the number that is even, the rest is 0. If he types a number that is odd, the rest is 1. So if I type 100, the rest is 0. If I type the number 99, the rest is 1. And you guys can mess here. You guys can see that even type a really big number that is even will be 0. if you type a really big number that is odd, will be 1. So that's a way to solve this problem using the module operator. So you can reorganize, rearrange the nodes here. You can save the project. And I'm gonna go back here to the documentation before finishing this tutorial, because I'm gonna show you that imagine if you're reading this exercise and you never heard about the module operator. You can see here that, oh, the module is the remainder, the rest or the remainder of a division. For example, 24 divided by 10 is equal to 2, and 24 module 10 is 4, because, for example, 2 times 10 is 20 and you need 4, so if you add 4 you get the 24. So that's the remainder. And you can see here it shows, so it gives you a lot of hints to solve the problem, and until it gives the solution. So if you are not sure if you did it right, you can follow here the solutions. So you can solve all these exercises here, and there's a really cool one about the RPG, so role playing game combat system. So you have an operation here that calculates the power of a spell. For example, if you are familiar to playing games, you know that a spell have a formula that calculates the power. So that's what you're gonna learn here in this exercise. So it's pretty cool. You have all the hints. And that's it, guys. I'm really glad that you followed this this tutorial with me, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.